This is the first test of the Coleman valve tool after hardening. This material is 1026 DOM, and we've hardened it as much as we can harden it, which is not that hard, below 40, below the testing files that we have, probably in the 20 HRC range. And it still has the original profile of the teeth, which have the teeth that are very long and pretty easy to bend. However, I noticed that just trying to bend this with a pliers after hardening, it was substantially more difficult to bend this. Like, it had resisted bending versus when it wasn't hardened. Also, we annealed this at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for 1 to 2 hours to relieve any brittleness afterwards. So we're going to do a torque test on here and see how much torque it can take before the teeth bend or something else breaks.
Something broke.
Something broke, and it was the brass. The brass broke over here. So the teeth did not bend, the brass broke before the teeth. Right, these teeth are still straight, and the brass also bent a lot. It also smushed a lot right here before anything broke. I can turn the there we go. The brass smushed there before breaking, and this side broke. So it looks like this hardening is enough, and this material is strong enough now. Previously it just bent. So that's a good sign.
How was the torque?
Torque was 15.5 pound-foot. Okay, this is the second test. We're going to use the same piece down here that we just broke, but we're going to go in the opposite direction this time. The teeth are still good in the opposite direction. We also made sure to tighten down the inner screw so that everything is very tight. We should have probably done that, because as this tightened when we were turning to the left, we should have probably tightened the inner screw too. It might have helped reduce that breaking of the brass. But okay, let's go, and we reset the torque gauge. So let's go in the other direction now.
The screw is moving.
The screw is moving, yeah, because it's a lot of torque.
Yeah. 17.
17. So now we've gone even higher. We've gone up to 17.6. It was unscrewing here, and this down here has done nothing. It hasn't bent, so nothing's happened there to the teeth. So this is the tightening normally, and normally you don't need that much torque to tighten. So our third test of the same piece of 1026 steel DOM with the longer teeth in brass, and here I already pre-tightened it a little bit, and the brass has already started to give a little bit. So the torque gauge is on. Let's zero it. Oops. Okay. And here we go. We're going to apply the direction of the torque to unscrew the valve. So go ahead. Yeah. Broke at the bottom again, and the teeth did not bend. The brass has broken. Did it break on both sides?
Start.
Yeah.
21.
It broke on both sides. Oh yeah. The torque was 21.2 pound-foot. How did it feel in terms of how much force you were putting in?
This one was more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It felt like something was going to break, like that's if you're twisting something that small.
Yeah, I feel more resistance on this one.
Okay, keep going a little bit.
The other side broke.
It's just the brass. The brass
Yeah.
is just breaking out.
The screw broke.
Now the
The screw.
inner screw broke here. So the inner screw was shear twisted because it could not turn, it could not rotate as the outside rotated around it. So definitely things are breaking before the teeth are breaking. And here the teeth bent a little bit. Now that was a lot of force. What did the torque gauge say? 23.3. So that was a lot of torque. Here they bent a little bit, but this one is straight on this side, so it must have been a bending because of the
material was crooked.
the material was crooked, was getting crooked. So that bent a little bit. Okay. Here's a close-up look of that brass piece after this is the second trial here on this side, and then this was the first trial. And again, this was the most damage was done on the loosening side, where you're trying to loosen the valve. Now this version has modified teeth. So here we've modified the teeth to shorten them. There we go. So the teeth are as short as they need to be. They're not extra long coming out, sticking out, which means they will have less tendency to bend, but they might have tendency to shear. So here you can see that side. Let's go to the other side. This is what the teeth look on this other side. The material is still 1026. We're gonna test it out again. We're gonna zero this gauge. Okay, we're gonna do a loosening. So counterclockwise. Go ahead. It's pushing. Oh, okay. So the nut rotated a little bit in the tightening direction, so he's gonna tighten up the screw. And you're already at 16.1 foot-pounds, pound-foot. Definitely pushing the brass and breaking the brass there. Okay, keep going. Yeah, shooting pieces out, just shearing it all the way around. It just cut a perfect circle out of the brass. And we'll take a closer look at the steel. I don't see any damage from right here. And the torque was 20.6 pound-foot. So that's the amount of torque it takes to just cut a cheese circle out of there. Here's the teeth of the tool we just did. On the back side here, it looks like there's a little bit of bending, but that's not what we were pushing on. We were pushing on this side. So no bending occurred to these teeth. They did not shear. And this little bending on the back side is actually, this is one that we bent earlier before it was hardened, and then we hardened it. And also then we machined it down to make it shorter to do this test. So even though this one bent before, we machined it down, we hardened it, now it's performing better, and it sheared out that brass. Okay, this is test number 2 of the short tooth version. And again, this is the version that was previously used, bent the teeth, then we machined it down to shorter tooth and hardened it. And this is the 1026 material. Okay. Ready to go. Okay, 20, right there where it broke, 20.3, keep going. 20.9, 21, 21.
That's light.
Yeah. Okay, again, just sheared out the brass. So the brass is going to break long before the tool is going to break.